I'm legitimately interested in getting to know all of you. I don't think I've ever been more jealous of a robe in my entire life. I'm gonna be on them toes like I'm a catfish. Look, I'm gonna do my best to be gentle, but I need to warn you before we get started. I am very large. I'm gonna pull so hard on that golden head of hair of yours, your eyes are gonna roll back. I'm gonna lick your mouth. I'm gonna lick it. Your face is literally perfect. I'm gonna peel those shorts off your body. Look, whatever your name is, I hope that bed in there is not a memory foam mattress because it will only remember my name.
Do you have protection?
No, but we can go get it. You have your debit card, right?
I do.
Are you sure? You don't mind? Okay, neato. Yeah, these'll do. Oh, sweetie. You know you're tiny. Okay. Sometimes in real estate, we've got to be the bearer of bad news and let the sellers know they don't quite have what they think they do. Hey there, my name is Ryan Dossey, and in today's video, I'm gonna walk you through a common thing we have happen with sellers where they think their house is worth substantially more than it actually is. This is a real deal that we just got under contract. It's a property we're taking down. This is likely gonna end up being a flip in Indianapolis where this particular deal is located. Places that are kind of this expensive tend to not really cash flow or make a lot of sense as rentals. So we're gonna fix the place up, get the owners out, and get somebody new in there from the community. This particular seller got a ballpoint marketing postcard. We designed custom ones for our real estate company. I get a lot of people ask like postcards, direct mail, what do we think? In my experience, well, we do both, but if you're good at working your leads, you're gonna wanna go with the letters. They generate a higher response rate. If you're maybe more likely to prejudge your leads or you're not gonna work them as hard, I'd go the postcard route. My experience, the folks that call the postcards tend to just be a little bit more motivated. This particular deal was on a list of properties built after 1989, over 1,000 square feet, at least 3 bedrooms, at least 1.5 bath. It's a criteria you probably have heard on this channel pretty often. We call it like vinyl villages. So this particular seller got the piece of mail, called in to call Porter, who took that initial call, and it was one of those, look, we know that this house is worth $400,000 fixed up. We get the notes from Call Porter, we're looking it over, we're running comps, and we're like, we're not seeing that. Our actual notes from Noah, my business partner in Indianapolis, are they bought it for $139 in 2014. The most expensive house I'm seeing in the neighborhood is around the $260, $270. $300 to $400 is wild. Not sure where they got that. In my experience, a lot of real estate investors probably wouldn't have gotten this deal. Typically what happens, somebody calls in asking too much money and they let them know, yeah, you know, we're going to be nowhere near that. And then they kind of just like push it off. That's if they even work the lead or call the person back. I've seen guys do things like, well, if they're not asking like half of Zestimate, I'm not even going to go work the lead. Our approach has always been if they have equity and they want to sell, let's go meet with them and see what we can pull off with the dang thing, right? I forget what book it was from. I think it was like the ABCs of real estate investing, but one of my favorite quotes is that the seller's asking price is meaningless. Typically, they didn't run comps. They didn't analyze repair costs. They simply came up with a number that they would like to have. Literally how we handle these, we're just super blunt with them. Hey, how did you get to that number? And they're like, oh, well, that's what, you know, properties in the neighborhood next to ours go for. That was when we kind of had to like, yes. But those are 1,000 square feet larger, and you're in a neighborhood that's older, so it's not really the same. The most expensive house we've seen sell in your neighborhood went for under $300, and then kind of continue the conversation from there. We're not going to be rude about it or anything like that. Kind of similarly, we'll see like maybe a wholesaler made them an offer that didn't pan out, or a realtor pitched them some like pie in the sky number to try to get the listing. You just kind of got to be the bearer of bad news in a polite way. So our approach with these is always like, how did you get to that number? Did you run comps? If somebody else gave you that number, right? We'll hear often like, oh, I had it appraised. Well, when was it appraised? Was it a drive-by? Did they come inside the house? often like refinance appraisals come in higher, right? So we're trying to figure out how did they get to that number. From there, we're explaining like, look, we pay fair market value based on the condition minus the cost of repairs. How we explain our business model, it's based off the discounts we've negotiated with our contractors. Some of you watching this might disagree. You're like, no, I'm gonna walk you through 75% minus repairs. Yeah, that 25% margin we subtract is in discounts we've negotiated with our contractors and crew. Don't believe me? If you're an established investor, hop onto Angie's list and quote out like what a kitchen costs. It's probably substantially more than what you're paying for one. So that's kind of our approach. We're going to look at what the place is worth. We're going to subtract out the cost of repairs, and that's the number we're going to come up with. So if you're willing to sell the place for like a fair value, taking into account what work it needs, then great, we can probably do business together. If you're looking to have somebody overpay or pretend it doesn't need any work, I'm not your guy. That's simply not our business model. In fact, if getting top dollar's most important to you, you can probably just sell it on the market for more than what we'd be able to pay you anyway. So we worked this lead just like we would any other lead. We said, let's come out, take a look at the place and kind of see what we're working with. Let me walk you guys through the pictures on this one. It's a pretty solid house. I call these vinyl villages because they're in neighborhoods that they all look the same. This is a pretty good looking place. Anytime we go through these places, we're taking tons and tons of pictures so we can look back and like, what did we look at? Clearly there's some stuff here that needs to be cleaned out. Water heater actually looks like it might be a little bit newer. Nice little fenced in backyard. Looks like it's got a little bit of like a creek or something behind it. This is actually in the same city my wife and I lived in when we first moved to Indianapolis. This is a substantially nicer home than what we were able to afford when we were there. When we first moved, we used an FHA mortgage, and all we could get approved for was like 75 grand. So we had a 2-1 on a crawl space with like a gravel driveway. It was not ideal, but we made money on it. Actually, I did a video on that deal at some point in the past. So this is kind of a pretty straightforward, like flooring, paint, power wash, some odds and ends, and that's pretty much it. On this particular deal, there wasn't like crazy distress or anything like that. It was simply they wanted to relocate to a different area out of town, and they were just kind of looking for the easy button. They didn't want to have to deal with anything or wait on anybody. So this is the place. On this particular deal, we thought the place was worth about $270,000. 75% rule has us at $202,000. Rehab, we came up with between flooring, paint, power washing, random stuff, $17,000. So all in all, if I was going to wholesale the place, I'd want to sell it for $186,000, or that's like what I would sell the place for wholesale value wise. Our max, we always subtract out like an extra $8K, which had us at 178 to 180. On this particular one, we ended up going under contract on the place for $178,000. We're actually raising private money on this one. We're going to take it down and do it ourselves. So all in all, going to be a super solid deal. Got a little bit of a better deal than I would like buying this off a wholesaler. I mean, to be blunt, this is one that we were pretty straightforward with them. Like, hey, you could stick this on the market and get more money. It's just going to take you 30, 45, maybe 60 days. And they just didn't want to have to deal with any of that. Sometimes we're the bearer of bad news on deals like this, but it still ends up working out. Even though they actually thought the house was worth like 400 grand, they were looking to get somewhere in like the 2 to 220. So yeah, we were a little bit below what they thought, but not as substantial. However, they called in right off the bat with that, hey, I got a $400,000 house. I know what I've got. Don't lowball me kind of situation. In my experience, most people don't approach a stranger with like, hey, here's the intimate details of my life. Here's my bottom dollar. They kind of hold that information close to the chest. So it's important to build as much rapport as you can and make offers on absolutely everything. With our approach, that also typically includes running the appointment. After all, that's how you get really, really nice houses like this that don't need a ton of work in today's marketplace. Thank you guys for taking the time to watch today's video. Again, my name is Ryan Dossey. At the time of us dropping this, we probably will have just cracked 10,000 subscribers. So thank you guys for that very, very much. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe to the channel, and as always, highest compliment you can give me, share it with your friends. Thanks for your time. We'll talk to you next time.